The Detroit Tigers offense comes back, and then, it doesn't. Recapping the doubleheader split today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, that is including YouTube. This episode is brought to you by Blue Nile, the original online jeweler. Locked On Tigers listeners are also getting $50 off of $500. So be sure to check out BlueNile.com. Okay. We split and we split uglily. Look, the first game was fun. That was actually really fun. And the second game was just back to same old. Right back where we started. It was almost like the first game just didn't happen. Right back. Very, very frustrating. We did win the first game. Tarek Skubal started. He was lights out. We're going to talk about that. Even the second game, Alex Fiedo started. He was lights out. He was phenomenal. I mean, genuinely, I know he gave up 2 runs in 5 innings. Looking at it from an outsider, if you didn't watch the game, that's not anything overly special. But that is, legitimately one of the better starts of the Tigers seasons. One of the better starts of the Tigers season so far up to this point. Also, literally right now, while a roster move was just made, this is not anything crazy. Detroit Tigers officially, Alex Fiedo returns to AAA, which makes sense. He was serving as the 27th man for both of his starts. So that totally makes sense. They can bring him back if they really wanted to. But the 27th man totally makes sense. Drew Hutchinson was the player that was DFA'd at the expense of Joey Wentz making his major league debut on Wednesday. So what does this mean? It means that one of the two of them is probably staying, because DFA'd is not that's not option down there, right? That's not, you're going to get option down and then we'll call you right back up. DFA'd, that's we're kicking you off the 40 man potentially, right? So that leads me to believe that one of these two dudes is staying, and maybe it's Fiedo, and Joey Wentz will pitch, and then they'll bring Fiedo back up and send Wentz back down, or maybe they just keep Wentz, whatever. Also Matt Manning is making his second rehab start. There's a chance that he comes back next time his spot in the rotation is due up again after 2 rehab starts in AAA. Mize is getting a rehab start at the end of this week. There's a lot. We talked about it on yesterday's show. There's going to be a lot of movement on the pitching side of the roster for the next week or so. And this is just highlighting that. So only reason we're talking about it now, I was going to save most of the roster stuff till the end because Wentz is pitching tomorrow. But I just got the thing on my phone that the roster moves officially took place. So there you go. Joey Wentz, if it wasn't already official, it is certainly official now. When you are listening to this on Wednesday, Joey Wentz will be making his major league debut. Drew Hutchinson, DFA'd. I think it's tough. You weren't going to DFA Ronnie. That wasn't going to happen. So I guess, I guess, just odd man out type of stuff in it. The bullpen's been really solid. I'm not sure anybody's going to necessarily lose sleep over Drew Hutchinson not being in the bullpen anymore. But, he's had a couple of respectable outings, and I think that AJ liked him. I talked about it earlier in the season. I think AJ was honestly a fan of Drew Hutchinson. So there you go. There's your roster updates. Now we can get to the games that were played. First game, a lot of fun. At like, well, a lot of fun after we finally scored a run. Like we finally scored a run. That was super cool. Scooble shoved. Like it was a fun game once we scored. So when did we scored two? I believe it was the fifth inning. So once we scored in the fifth, from the fifth to the ninth, it was a lot of fun. The first four innings, not too much fun. And then game two, not really fun at all because we just went right back to what we've been doing, which is super frustrating and annoying and dumb and a lot of other adjectives that I won't say on air. Really frustrating. There was some positives to take from the first game, certainly, but there was some positives to take from both games. It's so hard to break down doubleheaders when one of the results is so different from the other, right? So like I could come on here and say, oh, Jonathan Scope, big game in game one, really really solid. Went yard, had another hit. They showed the stat where hard hit percentage in the month of May, he's like the highest hard hit percentage in all of baseball. Better than like MVP candidates, Juan Soto's of the world. Like, been crushing the ball in May. Just been getting a little bit unlucky. So like those are all great signs. Great signs. The thing is, then we go and he did get a hit in the night cap. I guess it was nighttime in the nightcap, but like the offense scored one run and we were getting shut out through 8. And then we did the classic. Oh, we're going to get the bases loaded in the ninth and we're going to have the winning run at the plate. The tying run what was on base. The tying run was at first and the winning run was at the plate when the final out was made. Just super frustrating. Super frustrating. There's a lot of cold stretches going on. I think Chris McCoskey tweeted it, so we'll give some credit to McCoskey. We have a really good I'll always give credit to the Tigers beat writers. I know people love to just like crap on everybody, but take a look at how other teams are covered in Major League Baseball, and you will quickly realize that the Tigers beat is one of the best beat teams that there are in baseball. So be appreciative for sure. McCoskey, I think it was McCoskey, tweeted out Robbie Grossman 0 for 15 stretch, Javi Baez 2 for 17 stretch, and Spencer Torkelson a 1 for 27 stretch. So not great. Not great. The offense all around continues to struggle, and we thought we had gotten out of it, right? We thought that we had made it. We thought we were seeing the light. People were asking, is the turnaround here? Are we back? Are the Tigers back? And then they immediately slap us in the face with a shutout through 8. And then, they walked in a run. Like, we didn't even put a ball in play to like drive in a run. It's just, oh, it's very frustrating. It really takes the wind out of the sails. I think that's the saddest part. Like, we have all this excitement. It was a fun game. Like, game one was outside of opening day, probably the most fun Tiger game of the year. Like, was genuinely fun to watch. I was like having a good time. It was a beautiful day outside. It was awesome. And it just, golly. Game 2 comes around and there we go. Right back to where we started. Just right back. As if we didn't miss a step. Very frustrating. We'll continue to talk about the split, the doubleheader split for the Detroit Tigers. But first, I got to tell y'all about LinkedIn. in. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questioning make it easier to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. So, a spring in the air, it's time of renewal and growth, personally and professionally. So, as your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier and find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. It's why small business rates LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? So post your job for free. Lot of F's. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, everybody. We are back here for segment 2 at Locked On Tigers. Thank you for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast recaps of MLB games with analysis from our local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. So we talked about the hitting. I'm sure we'll talk about it again at the end. But for now, we've talked about the offense. Let's talk about the pitching. And then maybe we'll go back to the offense, like who stood out, Candy swinging a hot stick, etc. But the pitching was phenomenal. The starting pitching, I guess, all the pitching was really, really solid today across both games. And I know that the bullpen, well, a little bit the bullpen, some they were running all over us in game 2. They were running all over us. They had zero faith in Eric Haas's arm, and it worked out for him. Eric Haas, what, 2 balls got thrown into center field, 3 balls thrown into center field. One of the short hops Javi probably should have had, but that still doesn't make it a good throw, right? Like both can be true. It can be a weak throw, and Javi should have gotten it. I think that's the second one. That's probably falls under that category. But as a whole, I mean, they just did whatever they wanted on the base paths. They really did not fear. There was no threat on the base paths to them, and that manufactured one of their runs single-handedly. Kind of manufactured both a little bit, but definitely manufactured one there. Yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. But the pitching was great, so let's talk about it. Alex Fiedo, in the second game, we're going to start with him. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. Both of them earned 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. His ERA in 2 starts is now 3.6. He was unfreaking believable. I could talk about it just alone for half an hour, just how good he looked. Everything was fantastic. His slider, we've been talking about his slider since I've taken over the show, and as a community, we've been talking about his slider since he was drafted. It was lights out in this one. Like borderline unhittable. And like I don't want to, I say that lightly. So that's why I kind of put like the borderline in front of it. But it was as unhittable as unhittable gets. He threw it 26 times and induced 10 whiffs. 26 times, 10 whiffs, 18 swings, 10 whiffs. Ball got put in play 3 times. And honestly, 2 of the 3 times were really soft contact on top of that as well. So the slider in 26 times thrown got hit hard 1 time. 95, 96 miles an hour. 1 time. Was lights out. The pitch mix was also phenomenal. The release point for everything was really good early on. The first 3 innings, he was damn near flawless. The first 3 innings, and then the ace scored there in the fourth, and like I said, the Haas thing happened that inning as well. But and I thought he recovered nicely. By the way, to be in your second major league start, have something like that happen to you where a guy gets on third that you aren't really responsible for the fact that he got all the way to third base. Really, really impressed. Really, really impressed. So I was very impressed by how he was able to recover. But the swing and miss stuff was lethal. And it wasn't just the changeup either. Like he had 10 whiffs on the slider, which in 5 innings is just redonkulous. Nonetheless, the fact that it's this dude's second major league start, but whiffs, 4 whiffs on the 4-seam fastball as well. 3 whiffs on the changeup, which he threw 13 times. One of them was filthy. I think it was it might have been to end the second inning. One of the strikeout pitches, I believe it was the second inning. Just dirty, falls off the table. Beautiful. Soft contact all on the changeup as well. 3 balls put in play. None of them hit over 95 miles an hour, so none of them deemed as hard hit. And then 2 of them were 85 or 85 miles an hour or softer off the bat. So really, really, I mean, 86.5 was his average exit velo for the entire outing. That's low. That's a really good number. You pair soft contact with, however, what did I say? 17 total whiffs. You pair those two things together, you got a damn good start. Very, very impressed with Alex Fiedo. Like I said, the pitch mix really worked for him. The tunneling of his 4-seam and his slider, we have talked about on this show a plethora of times, and was certainly one of the biggest reasons that he found success today. Only 3 balls total Alex Fiedo gave up that were hit over 95 miles an hour. And that's what the analytical community, baseball savant, and everything deem as a hard hit ball. So only 3 of those the entire outing. His final line is 5 innings. Oh, we already read it. 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Forgot that I already read that. Sorry. Really, really good outing. Really impressive. I know that we've talked about at the beginning, he is going back to Toledo. Don't expect him to be there too much longer after his first 2 outings being what they are. So good job. Big ups to Alex Fiedo. The other one was Tarek Skubal. And I think it's probably safe to say that Skubal is the ace of this staff. And I also, like, I don't read into that stuff too much. Like, if you want a big debate, I can't speak. If you want a big debate over who's the ace of this pitching staff, I'm not really sure that I'm gonna give that to you. Like, I don't really care like who, like, the general public like thinks like the ace is. Like, I care if we were in a playoff spot and we were like, oh, like, who's gonna go in like the winner go home game, or who's gonna go game 1 in the postseason, like, then, like, yeah, that's a conversation, I guess. But like, the Tigers had their non-ace win the Cy Young in the early 2010s. Like, I don't really care like who's deemed the ace right now. I really don't. But if you had to pick one, it's really hard to not go Tarek Skubal. He has had a phenomenal season. Even the ERA that he has, like, does not do him justice, because they went back and had his ERA is a 2.41 after this outing. 7 innings, a shutout ball will do that. But they went back and gave him like 2 earned runs in a previous outing that were originally deemed off an error. How stupid is that? We can't go back and give Galarraga a perfect game 10 years later, but we can raise all of your starters' ERAs. Get out of my face, dog. What are we doing? So dumb. But Tarek Skubal shoved. There is really no other way to put it. He was the man in the arena. He was the man on the bump. And I think the most fascinating thing is, again, first off, 9 whiffs, great outing. A little bit, well, I don't want to say 9 whiffs is like, I don't want to say this in a derogatory term, because 9 whiffs is like solid. But Tarek Skubal has consistently gotten like 12 plus whiffs quite a few times this season. So 9, a little bit of a step off, like the pedal, maybe. I mean, 5Ks, again, far from bad. It's just that we're used to, Scuba going out there and giving us like 7 or 8 in 5 innings. And it's like, oh, well, only 5Ks. Not a bad performance. And certainly not a bad performance because he was phenomenal. But that's something that jumped off the page of me with just, a little bit less on the swing and miss stuff. That being said, really good on the called strike numbers. And on top of that, really good at the average exit velocity. And that is huge. We talked all about last year how Tarek Skubal was kind of like the Adam Dunn of pitching. It was either a strikeout or a home run. You did walk 3 in this game, which also is slightly off brand to what we've seen this season. He has had really good walk numbers up to this point. But it's awesome to see. Average exit velo was 85 miles an hour this game. The average exit velo by pitch, okay, slider 83, sinker 92 on 3 balls put in play, 4-seam 82, changeup 80. And then the knuckle curve got put in play 1 time and it was hit very hard, but that's a 1-pitch sample, whatever. 85.5 average exit velo across the entire game. That's 17 balls put in play. Really impressive number because last season that number was super high. He was getting either a whiff or he was getting teed up. So it's awesome to see that he is able to dominate a major league team without getting a ridiculously high, 12, 13, 14 levels of whiffs, that he's able to take that step and do soft contact while still getting a whiff when needed. Flawless start. One of my favorite starts of Tarek Skubal's entire major league career up to this point. Final line, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 92 pitches. The other thing that's fascinating about it is through the slider more than any other pitch, again, the sinker was up there a little more. Thing moves a ton, man, by the way. But the sinker moved up a little bit more. He threw the sinker more than the fastball today. If we just want to go through it really quick, slider, threw it 30 times, almost exactly, 1/3 of the amount of pitches he threw. Like I said, 92 pitches. So just under, holy cow, I can't do math. Just under, yes, because 90-30, right. Just under exactly a third there. Sinker, 23, 4-seam, 21, changeup, 12, knuckle curve, 6. So really solid pitch mix. Through 3 different pitches 20 or more times. That is awesome. That's so awesome. And he tunneled all of them beautifully. Consistent mechanics. Release point was on a point. No pun intended. It rocked. Everything about his start was awesome. So great. Incredible. So just continuing to see him take that step forward. He's been so good this year already. Hasn't had a start that I've looked at and been like, oh, like he lost it. Not a single one. And to see him just take that step, it's awesome to see. Where he talked about everything else. We'll talk about the bullpen a little bit, and then kind of just recap the day and to look forward to the rest of the series as well. First, though, got to talk to you all about Built Bar. Summer is coming. And with this summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations. Throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks. Make sure that everyone has a Built Bar so you are fueled for your summer adventures. The best part about Built Bars is they're healthy and delicious. There's no more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both. And it's easy. All you have to do is go to Built.com and order right now. All Built Bars and Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate, which means, again, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. You don't have to make that choice of healthy or not healthy. You just have Built Bar. It's incredible. Most Built Bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. That's including the Puffs. You compare that to a candy bar. It's usually about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. So go to Built.com right now. They get all your favorites: banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, so many more. They're all delicious. New flavors are coming out all the time. So check them out at built.com. Go to built.com right now. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off of your order. It's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, everybody. We are back here for our third and final segment at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Greatly appreciate you. The bullpen, Joe Jimenez, I thought looked good. Thought he looked good. Drew Hutchinson pitched in the end. Not he didn't get a save or anything. Wasn't a safe situation, but was the last pitcher that we used in the victory. He looked good, but now we have learned that he is DFA'd. So we'll see what his future holds within the organization. Odds that he gets claimed, I don't think they're that small. I mean, again, he's been really solid. He's been a starter before. Like he started for us just last year, pitched some decent innings. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that a team could go in and try and swoop him from us. I don't think that that's completely out of the question. If he does pass through everything and stays within the organization, well, that's a whole different conversation because at some point it's going to come up to what he wants as well. So we'll see. We'll see. That's Drew Hutchinson's future. Very big question mark on it, but did pitch in this game and was pretty solid for whatever that's worth. After Alex Fiedo, Will Vest. We have to talk about Will Vest. Will Vest is just like nasty. Like that's just the world we live in. Will Vest is nasty. Dude that we lost in a Rule 5 draft, then struggled so mightily with the Seattle Mariners that they sent him back to us, is now like a sub 1.4. He has like a 1.32 ERA and struck out the side like comfortably, like looked dominant on the bump. Will Vest might just be nasty. The breaking stuff was moving like crazy. He really did look like incredible today. And I know that's easy to say, like, you know, no kidding, he struck out the side, but even like looking past the fact that he has 3 strikeouts in the box score, like he just looked good. All the stuff moved like crazy. It was phenomenal. It was a really impressive outing. The slider spin rate into that mid 2500s range, beautiful. Great outing. Great outing from Will Vest. Shout out Willie V. Right? Shout out Will Vest, man. Will Vest, more like Will is the best. Haha. That was funny. Okay, Andrew Chafin gave up some hits. Look, like a couple of them were hit pretty hard. One of them was kind of a BABIP type of hit. The defense behind him wasn't great. He's still he's fine. He's still fine, and it's not like that blew us the game. He only ended up giving up 1 run. And what? We scored 1 run. We lost. We were getting shut out through 8. Whatever. It could have been a lot worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say in that inning. Not a pretty nice recovery, if anything. I'm not worried about Andrew Chafin at all. He looks solid, and the velocity is back up to where we expect it to be as well. And then Ronnie Garcia. Did give up a ball that was hit very hard. Outside of that, looked really good again. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. Ronnie Garcia looked really good. And again, I'm not trying to say that Ronnie Garcia is going to be anything that he's not, but looked really good 2 outings in a row. Really good 2 outings in a row. And I think there might be a reason that instead of sending Ronnie Garcia back to AAA for Joey Wentz, they DFA'd Drew Hutchinson. Looked pretty damn good. We'll see. And then Alex Lang pitches the 9th inning. Didn't really have his swing and miss stuff, and that's the key to him. So the fact that he kind of missed out on that, only had 1 whiff the entire outing. Curveball sinker is his pitch mix, and only induced the one whiff on the curveball out of the 9 pitches he threw. Did end up giving up the 1 run, but again, some interesting plays in the field. And really, it was just kind of like a manufactured run there at that point, just kind of moving ducks over the field. So whatever, not going to lose sleep over it. It's not like he imploded. He solid enough inning. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. 2.5 ERA on the year for him. Ronnie Garcia's ERA gets to sub 2. And Andrew Chafin's is now at 3.12. Will Vest a 1.32 ERA. This bullpen's good, man. It's too bad that we never put them in situations where we can utilize it because we don't like scoring runs ever. It's unbelievably frustrating. The Oakland A's are not good. They're not. And we've gotten shut out 1 game and almost shut out in 2 games. Back on the horse tomorrow. Let's go win a damn ball game. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Host Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. That will do it. Back tomorrow, hopefully talking about a W. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.